Hi, welcome back to the Space Creator Show. And this week, I'm so excited to have Jo, the lovely Jo from Benella Home Organisation, joining me. We are going to be talking about something that I'm also really excited to talk about, which is moving house. And Jo is pretty much the expert in moving house and specifically downsizing, but all types of house moves. We're going to have a conversation today how to move house well. And Jo's going to give you loads of tips. So I'm super excited. And hopefully she'll tell us a bit more about her house move as well, her recent one. Thank you so much for joining me, Jo. It's so nice to have you. How are you doing?
I'm good, Amy. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm very honoured and talking about one of my favourite subjects. They always say, what can you talk about in your sleep? And I can talk about moving home in my sleep and the whole process to make it not quite as stressful as people think it might be. So it's still stressful. There's no denying it, but certainly trying to make it easier. That's for sure.
Definitely. And it's much, much easier to move without a house full of clutter, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, I've been a professional organiser for over 20 years. I moved a famous author a couple of years ago and he just said, I don't want to be pushing this up the hill to the new house. And I thought that was a really good analogy of you don't need to take everything just because you've kept it or heirlooms and the whole thing. Everyone can struggle with for sure.
Yeah, that is a really good analogy. It's everything about when you just have so much extra stuff, it becomes so apparent, doesn't it? Even when I was decluttering, our move has dragged on and on and on, and we're still here. I started decluttering like 3 months ago, or longer than that, actually. And even I, with a relatively clutter-free house, was like, what is all this stuff? Like, what? Why do I have this? And, so imagine when you do feel like your house is actually quite chaotic and it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think people often leave it far too late, don't they? They get their completion date and they've got a week and then they're like, right, I need to declutter the house, and it's just not long enough.
Yeah, and it becomes then a complete panic and you don't want to regret any decisions. So that my biggest tip is always start as early as you can. And I always think it's better to start anyway, because it's almost part of the home staging process anyway, is to be decluttered. That's going to be how it's going to help sell your home the quickest if it's not full of clutter. When we sold last year, we sold for above the asking price in 12 days. And I wasn't the most fun to live with in those 12 days. And it certainly took me probably a month to get to that point where I was then happy with photographs to then go on the market. And I kind of took that as almost a full-time job, but then we moved fairly quickly. We had to go to an Airbnb. It was all very, challenging as moves can be, storage and all of that stuff. The only thing I have to say that we found in our household challenging, and when I'm downsizing clients as well, this is a common theme. I have adult children. My son lives in a rented room in London. And I'm like, dude, we've got 7 boxes of Star Wars Lego. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, do you want to come and sort all of this out? And we have your costumes and dress up things. And, when will we become grandparents? How much do we actually want to keep? And I come across this all the time with clients that, that I inherited that, or that's my adult children's and they haven't got a big enough home. In the end, it was, okay, so I've searched up storage costs. And if you're not down here in a couple of weeks, I'll put it in storage and I'll send you the bill.
That's such a good thing to do. Oh my gosh. But I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, we downsized our big home, an absolute whim, because I fell in love with a beach home.
Yeah.
Dream come true. We're almost empty nesters. We didn't need our big home where we'd had for 20 years raised our adult children in. Yeah. We had an attic that's bigger than this entire cottage, and it was organised.
Yeah,
but it was full. It was an IKEA graveyard of furniture as children grow and you think, well, that might be useful. And then, so it was certainly decluttering early and getting them down, because a lot of it was their items that wanted to keep. So we had to compromise on that. And at this home, the attic, the ceilings are 5 meters high. And it was really liberating to actually downsize myself.
Yes,
Even though I've done it for 8 years, specialized in downsizing, I actually had to eat my own words, so to speak, and actually do what I tell everyone else to do or advise everyone else to do. Yeah. And it really is that understanding of this is hard. And you have to come at it with empathy and understanding and be kind to yourself that you are possibly having to let go of items that maybe you would want to keep. Or if you're downsizing, there certainly has to be a shift. Normally when people are downsizing as well, there's a reason. that you're doing it. There's going to be emotion behind it. Maybe there's illness, or someone's been widowed, or they're moving for financial reasons, or
Yeah.
just that leap of understanding and sort of going, this house is too big now. I can't maintain this garden, but I've loved my garden. As a professional organizer, I've spent many years going into people's homes where you're sort
Mm.
of going, oh, this is lovely. And you're always finding a positive. You'll know what I'm talking about. Always
Yeah.
finding a positive to sort of say, this is lovely. And
Yeah.
when you go into someone that's downsizing, you can't say that,
Yeah.
because the first client I ever had, and I said, oh my goodness, what a beautiful garden. And they just burst into tears. We don't want
Yeah.
to going. We're having to go because my husband has dementia. And I literally clocked, never saying that again.
It's a very different for us as like professional organisers, even if it's not necessarily a bad reason that they're moving, so to speak, if they just are downsizing because actually they just want to, it still can be very emotional and upsetting, especially if someone's lived in a place for a really long time.
It's a community focusing on those positives. It's just focusing on, well, I'm going to make new friends, or I'm going to be closer to family, or I'm going to have less to maintain, no bills of the garden or anything like that to worry about. And it's also hard.
Mm.
I've helped a lot of people sell their late parents' homes due
Yeah.
to bereavement. And I've lived that myself. And it was
Mm.
probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. So
Yeah.
I lost my parents 7 years ago and 5 years ago, and then the pandemic. It was the most difficult
Tough.
thing.
Yeah.
And so I often help people, and it's the same principle of downsizing or moving anyway. It's a lot more emotional. And I learned a lot from that, which I'm then able to share with my clients. I love helping people move. I especially
Mm.
love helping elderly clients downsize, because it's just when they turn around and they just go, Joe, I just don't know what I've done without you. That's
Yeah.
my happy moment.
Yeah.
And I've moved
Oh.
people that have got adult children who all live abroad and no one's come to help, or they don't have
Mm.
children,
Mm.
or they, have been widowed and their husband always did it and,
Mm. Yeah.
dealt with everything and they don't know what to do. So it's just supporting them. And it really is, it's a simple process.
Yes,
you know,
definitely with
you,
this. If you're
know
watching on YouTube.
Yes, if you're watching, it's as simple as Joey from Friends with inverted
Yeah.
commas. It is just a process. And I think when you sort of take it a little bit methodically,
Mm.
sometimes it can remove a little bit of the emotion away by
Yes.
knowing, because everyone just says to me, if they're downsizing, they're looking around their home and it's literally like, where do I start? It's like
Yeah.
decluttering, I suppose, but we're not just doing a cupboard or
Yeah, it's a
a
lot more. It's
room.
everything.
It's a whole home. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like, well, where do I start, and what's the process, and what do I do? So
Yeah.
that's where I love to then come in and go, right, this is where we're going to start.
So do you want to walk us through like your process? What do you do first if a client kind of brings you and says, Joe, I need you to help me downsize? What's the kind of situation? What do you do?
Absolutely. So go around and see them and make sure we have like a floor plan of the new home. So downsizing, right sizing, or upsizing. Upsizing, the only difference is obviously you probably need to buy more furniture as opposed to get rid of furniture. First of all, it's about understanding what you're going to take, what is going to fit in your
Mm.
new home. I use platform called Sweet Home, and there is a free version of it. I have the paid version only because it gives more options. But if you're just
Yeah.
doing that, it's quite a good one to do. And you can just kind of screenshot your plan and then it all goes to scale. So if you then put in your sofa and you just put the measurements in, you can drag it all around.
Wow.
Alternatively, just having a floor plan, knowing that that room is how many feet or meters that it is, and then figuring out your furniture. So once you have a really good idea of what furniture is going to fit,
Yeah.
that's the only place to start, and in
Right.
what you're taking. So for example, if you have a big dresser that's
Mhm.
full of Emma Bridgewater mugs and china, all your favorite things, and it's got books, and inside it's got tablecloths for the big table that you've had X number of years of, Christmas meals and family meals
Oh,
around,
yeah.
all of those things, but it's too big for your new home. But you do have another unit which will actually fit. So it's knowing what you're going to take with you. And then
Mm.
it's by doing that, that creates an inventory of what is not going with you. And that
Yeah.
then just breaks it down. And you can do that room by room or, size by size. However, I would always go room by room. It's just
Yeah,
much
I think that's
easier.
easier. Yeah,
So you
definitely.
know what you are not taking. And therefore, that is what you have to then move on. And a top tip, if you are downsizing, like say elderly parents, anyone like that, then don't use the word dispose.
Yes.
What are we going to move on? What do we need
Yes.
to move
Move
on as
on.
opposed to dispose of? Because no one wants to hear that something's being disposed of.
No.
Can it make money and all of this? The process then of once you have your inventory of what you are not taking with you, then it
Yeah.
goes through a process of the first two can be interchangeable. So number one, it could be an auction house. I'm not a valuer, but I would always say, I've had clients that say, oh, charity is coming to pick up all this G plan furniture. And I'm like,
Oh God, no, sell it. G plan.
I have a contact, and they
Yeah.
sold it for like £500, and
Yeah,
then he
yeah.
did their house clearance for free as well.
Oh wow.
I'm not a valuer, but I would always check. And a way with an auction house, just a tip is just take photographs and email it in, and then they
Yeah.
will tell you whether it's worth something or not, whether they'd be interested. So don't waste a journey over with an old chest and X number of toys or whatever it is that someone's taking. Brown furniture is not in fashion, but it's always worth checking.
And I think also auction houses are pretty good. Like they're always quite honest, aren't they, with what they want? Sometimes they're a bit blunt. If you're
Yes.
looking for someone to be really nicey, you just want to bear that in mind, because sometimes they're like, no, we don't want that. We don't want that. They don't kind of mince their words, do they? Most of them.
No value, and you're like, but that cost me £2,000
Yeah.
25 years ago. And I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
really sorry.
It's not in fashion anymore. That's the trouble,
Auction
isn't it?
houses,
Yeah.
aren't taking it. So go through an auction house. So always ask that first, and
Yeah.
then utilize your buyer. If you have a buyer already, then definitely ask them. I had a client who had a very small house, but a huge corner plot, and I was downsizing him to an apartment. And he had a ride-on mower, he had the strimmer, he had the garden furniture. And I was just like, oh my goodness, this is like, it's all valuable. How on earth are we going to move this on? And I just said, look, let's try the estate agent to talk to your buyer. So I sat down with my client and I said, what would you realistically want to achieve? The white goods, all of that kind of stuff. And he put a sensible price next to everything. And the buyer bought everything. I drove home going, that was a good one. And I think, he made about £500, so he wasn't going to be able to take it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so that's a really good one. And just a thing there is, if you are selling something to your buyer, it must go through your solicitor.
Yes.
If you are leaving it for your buyer and not taking money, then you don't have to go to your solicitor. But I always recommend that you have an email trail of it.
Yeah.
It's never happened to me, but you don't want the situation of someone then saying, well, I had to clear it all because you left it, and I'm now billing you £500 for house clearance, because you can say,
Yeah.
well, no, actually you did agree that I
Very good tip.
always get that in writing. But if you're selling it, has to go through the solicitor. Auction house, and then buyer, and then charities. I would always recommend booking, at least 2 to 4 weeks in advance for charity, and don't ever have it on the day of the move. I've had a client that the charity phoned me in the morning and then just said they're sick or the van's broken down or whatever. And you're like, okay, that needed to go today because tomorrow, that's the last time I could book and closest I could book. And then they're moving in the next couple of days. So always give it enough time. And if you're selling a home because of a bereavement, a loss, or anything like that, it's really helpful to use a charity that will mean something to you or to the person. When I lost my father, everything went to the hospice that just took such good care of him in those last few days. So that was just really important, and it helps.
Yeah.
It really, really, really helps. And also, even dropping things to charities, just on a personal note, my mum has been gone 5 years, and I lost her very suddenly and incredibly unexpectedly. And 2 years ago, I decided, actually, I don't need this item anymore. I didn't want it. And I went into a charity shop and I handed it over. And this lady was like, oh, God. Okay, well, I don't know. And I looked at her and I picked it up and I walked out. And it took me about 10 minutes to stop crying.
Joe.
I brought it back home. I was like, that was really hard to let go of. And then that lady wasn't very kind. So I went at home and I tried a different charity shop sort of the next day. But I had was watching this lady, and I still ended up crying, but I went in and I just said, "This is my late mum's, and this is really hard for me to let go of. And I don't want to cry now." But she was just like, "I promise we'll take care of this. This is
Oh,
lovely. And watch who you're giving it to
yeah.
protect yourself." And I
Yes.
still left and cried because she was then so nice. And I
Yeah, well, that's it. When sometimes when someone's nice, it's worse, isn't it? Well, it's not worse, but it makes you almost cry more.
did. I wasn't angry. And I even wrote to the manager and just said, "This lady, her name is Jean, and she was just so nice."
Oh,
A lot of them are volunteers. Just a quick tip as well, really watch the charity shop. Use someone that would mean something, but be
mm,
careful. They could be having an off day,
yeah,
just fine. But when it's hard for you to hand that over, be aware of that.
yeah,
So
definitely.
auction house, buyer, charities,
Great.
family, friends, of course, will come before charities. Make
Yeah.
sure that you're not sort of burdening anyone. A tip I use for anything when it comes to decluttering is
Mm,
if you're handing something to someone, just say, "Would you like this? I think you might, but if you don't want this, please just move it on."
yes. Give them
And
permission
give
and
them the
get
permission.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. Who is still keeping a
Mm,
bag of clothes that's 3 sizes too big for a young child that they've been handed from a distant cousin or a sister or anything like that? And they're keeping them because they think, oh, they're going to be really annoyed if I don't have that. On the flip side of that, I always say to clients, if you're handed something with love that someone's thought you might like this, or your child might like it, or your sibling has given it to you, then I would always say, "Oh, thank you so much. Are you okay if it's not right for me to move this on?"
yeah.
Taking the guilt away of
Mm,
having to keep hold of something that you are keeping out of guilt. And I'm
mm,
sure you're the same, Amy. I have clients all the time that are holding things because,
yeah.
well, I was given that by,
And they
like,
worry that they're gonna get caught out or they're gonna say, "Oh, have you still got this one thing from
yes.
15 years ago?" Yeah.
Yes. Whereas when you're giving something, already
Mm,
take the pressure off. And when you're receiving something, just ask that simple question. And the same again, it just takes that
mm,
pressure off. Have like a bit of an open house, invite people around, like, what would you like? And things like that. My late mum was known for her scarves and she had all these lovely scarves. There were hundreds. Her funeral, thankfully, was just before the pandemic hit. So it was like
mm.
standing room only and everything. At the wake, I just stood up and I had probably 5 big, really useful bags full of them. And I just said to everyone, "Please come and take a scarf of my mum's." So
Oh, that's so nice. It's such
you
a nice
have
thing
that
to do.
memory. And it's just then another easy way if you are clearing something. If you've got a load of toys that are in the house that, I'm not going to need anymore, then reach out to a play group or reach out to friends or who may be becoming grandparents or anything like that, and just have it an easy way. Lots of different sort of tips on ways just to have things go, but it's less guilt free because you're letting them go. Or have a car boot sale or
Yes.
make it fun. Just don't come home with more stuff at a car boot.
No, oh my gosh. Don't go to a car boot sale to buy more than you came with.
No, not at all. There's a story of my daughter when she was much younger that we were trying to encourage her to sell some things, and then she ended up coming home. I left for like 2 minutes and I came
Yeah.
back. She's got this giant fluffy dog, and I was like, that just is more than what she's actually getting rid of. And then the last one is house clearance. And I always say this is the last resort because that's what will cost money. And you have to
Yeah.
use a reputable company. They have to have a waste license, and therefore they will charge. Don't have anyone that isn't going to charge. Some people do offset things if they're going to be selling items or anything like that. I use
Yeah.
a house clearance person who also has an auction house. So he will absolutely tell me, okay, this is a £500 job, but I know I can make this on. So I'm actually going to charge you £200. And the same again, be very aware of house clearance teams because I was
Mm.
advised when my parents' home was being cleared not to be there, and it was
Yeah.
probably the best bit of advice I was given.
Yeah.
So
'Cause they're not like professional organisers, are they? They just go in and get the job done. Professional organising is very different. We're really supporting you with the emotional side
yes,
and actually helping you to process things, and we take the time. Whereas house clearance, they're just coming in and getting rid of the stuff. And hopefully they're respectful and not like lobbing things around, but generally they're not going to be checking with you and worrying about anything. They're just going in, getting it done and
yeah,
moving on, aren't they?
Yeah, they're separating mattresses and metal and how they're
Yeah.
going to literally dispose of everything. And that is really hard. I am very grateful I didn't see that. My husband just went there for 2 days and did that. I went away with a girlfriend instead. But it was a huge learning curve for me with clients to really
Mm.
understand. It's very easy for us to say, just get house clearance in, but
Mm.
it's actually a very emotive experience, or it's difficult to do. So
Mm.
basically, if you then know the furniture that you're taking with you, and then you've got your inventory of what you are moving on, what you are not going to take with you. I think I keep saying this is my best tip, but what I always say to
You're
people,
full of amazing tips, Joe.
I said I could do this in my sleep, is it's like, so say, for example, going back to that dresser that I described and then the smaller unit. So if you are not taking the table, that you have all the tablecloths and the napkins and the place settings and the 3 dinner services, if you are not taking that dresser that's full of those, then you've got to declutter the item that you are taking, piece of furniture. Say you've got fitted bookshelves, but in your new home, there aren't fitted bookshelves, nor are you going to have fitted bookshelves made, then
Mm.
you've got to have a place for those things to go. Now, we all will move with some items, even the most organized of people, they're always going to move with some items that haven't got a home straight away. But
Yeah.
try to create a home for everything as much as you can. So declutter the furniture that you're taking
Yeah.
and then fill it with the items that you are taking from the items of furniture that you're not taking, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that it already has a home. So when removals come in and pack up that, then when they put that in situ in your new home and the boxes will be in front, that's where it's going and it already has a home. Do things like measure the clothes rail of where you're going and go to velvet hangers. We're professional organisers, so we love our velvet hangers.
We do.
You'll create more space. So, for example, at one development that I move a lot of people into, I know that I go in inches because my clients are elderly and they always work in inches. It's
Yeah.
48 inches. That's how much hanging space they have in that one double wardrobe. So I
Yeah.
know that. So when I then measure and I just go, right, we got 6 foot of clothing here.
Woo!
You know, it's we need to declutter some clothing or think about a clothes rail so that straight away you've got something in situ to hang the spare clothes. Let's
Mm.
vacuum store your winter clothes because now it's spring and summer. So
Yeah.
we can do a seasonal swap out and let's get an electric ottoman bed so it's not hard to lift.
Yes.
All of these sorts of things that then can be done. It's really about filling the furniture and decluttering, and it's decluttering for the new life. We hosted Christmases because we had the big home.
Yeah.
My children are grown up now. My son, we didn't even see him at Christmas because he was working and he was in London. It's just different. I have clients that literally have a whole dinner service that's just used for Christmas, which is
Yes.
lovely.
It's lovely if you've got the space for it, but it's
Yes.
not lovely if you don't.
Yeah. So just say you're having to let go of dinner services that are sentimental,
Mm.
then sell it if you can. They are notoriously quite hard to sell.
They are tricky. Yeah.
But sell them if you can. And what I always say to clients is, and what I have done myself is just keep like a jug, one of the
Just
little
one
jugs
item.
from your dinner service and keep it on a shelf that's in your kitchen or have it somewhere so you can go, oh, I
Yeah.
remember that. You know, you're not then storing a 12-piece dinner service with
Mm. Mm.
tureens and all of the stuff that you just don't have the space for in your, in your new home.
Yeah.
It's go to have a look at the new kitchen and can you add more shelves in there prior to moving? Can
Mm.
you think about getting some open shelving to store extra things? I had to use every single skill I had moving to this cottage. I think the
I bet.
people that had this this cottage before us owned 2 pairs of shoes each and 1 coat.
Oh my goodness.
This cupboard here is,
Yeah.
sorry if anyone's just listening to this, there's a cupboard behind me. That was the only cupboard in the entire home. So I have just been working my magic it's been 6 months now, which is
Has
amazing.
it? Oh my goodness, that's gone so fast. I feel like it was like not that long ago that you were saying, I'm so excited like to be moving.
Friday the 13th of December, I wasn't excited that day when we moved in. They left it filthy. They left the freezer was frozen shut. I didn't realize I
No.
literally only had 3 kitchen cupboards and they were also all like, you could just get an oat milk in there. I mean, it's insane. But we're in planning, we're getting a new kitchen, it's all fine. And we've created wardrobe space and We've
Yeah.
done lots of things, which, as you know, I've documented all of my social media.
I know. Yeah, I love it. Your Instagram is amazing. It's so good. Like just some of the reels that you put, they're just so like really just like little tips. And I'm like, oh, sometimes I'm pretty good with socials, but even sometimes I overthink things, and then I think, oh no, that's too long, and then I don't end up doing it. And I'm like, I look at yours, I'm like, you're just doing really tiny tips, and it's so useful. I'm like, I've got to start doing that.
There are times I've literally not thought about it at all, and those have gone completely viral.
Yeah.
There was one, I decluttered a client, long-term client of mine, and she passed away in lockdown. And I had a year to clear her 8-bedroomed, huge house. And this
Wow.
lady, she shopped. She seriously shopped. And she was very high
Yeah.
up in the medical world. And in one outbuilding, I found a skeleton. And then I also found a giant elephant tusk.
Oh, well,
So
I think I saw. Yeah.
I put it because everything was closed in lockdown. You can't dispose of an elephant tusk, nor would I want to. Obviously, I wanted to make sure this went to the right place. I could do nothing. And it was only when I was decluttering myself and downsizing myself, I went in the attic and I was like, there's a giant elephant tusk up here. So it was about 30 degrees in my attic. I looked an absolute mess. Honestly, it went to millions, and then Newsweek picked it up. I remember just thinking, I really could have just like brushed my hair, couldn't I?
I find it's always the ones that you don't really think about that much
Yeah.
that end up going viral. Or I had one that went viral once, and it was about like renovation, which
Yeah.
I do, but it's not really like my niche. And it went viral, and I kind of really skewed all my figures, and it was like 1.2 million or something. I was like,
Yes, it's.
what did you manage to do with the elephant tusk?
I can't name it because I then got told off by the place. It was a zoo. I then got told off because not told off. I was asked to not tag them in
Oh, right.
because it's so valuable. And I was just like, it had been in my car for like 3 weeks. I had this giant, very valuable elephant tusk in my car until I found that they would take it. So I had to drive it over there. But I just wanted to make sure I was responsible.
Yeah.
And then the skeleton that I found, because the couple had both been in the very, very senior in the medical world, I knew it wasn't a murder. But I got that to a funeral directors to dispose of because that was very weird, walking down my local high street with a bin bag of a skeleton. I also didn't want to just throw this somewhere.
Oh, could you imagine?
I used to work for Trevor Eve for a decade. I worked for the actor Trevor Eve as his PA in London part-time, and he did Waking the Dead. So I did message him and say, Trevor, I've just found a skeleton. And he's like, don't bury it, Joe. Just don't, it will come back to you. Don't put it in a suitcase and try and, put it in a river. We've just digressed, haven't we, about social media?
Very interesting.
So it's going through, filling the furniture with what you're going to take and really going through. So it was dinner service and things like that. So really thinking, that was the other one. It was planning your kitchen. Like if you have the option, go and look at your kitchen, especially when it's like a retirement apartment. But if it's not your kitchen and it's not your style, you've got to live with that until you can change it.
Yeah.
And, I just say get Post-its and stick them on. Obviously, you can only do that if it's a retirement apartment and it's brand new. But if, you are moving to a new home, take some pictures when you go and have a look so you can really plan. Then when you are unpacking, you can put it in the right place and, maybe order some shelves if you've got the opportunity to do that beforehand, or organise just sort of extra temporary storage. That's got to be a fully functioning room. But that's my sort of top tips really on decluttering and getting organised. But that's not to diminish how hard all of that is. I mean, when we moved, it sounds very first world problem, I do know, but we sold our big family home to have a small cottage and a small beach home. Dream come true. But then to do all of that, we had to live in an Airbnb for 6 weeks. So I had what's going to the beach, what's going to storage, and then what would stay in some storage until we sorted this out, and then what was coming to the cottage. It was testing all of my skills to do. So it was a lot of labeling, a lot of inventories. It worked. It did work, and a lot left the house. It actually very, very liberating.
I was going to say, how do you feel like now though, after, because it also must be, maybe, I don't know if relief is quite the right word, but to go from having that big kind of family home to then a smaller, I mean, even just the cleaning and just the management of it.
It's so true. I had a cleaner every week for 3 hours.
Mm.
And I can come in here and I probably couldn't even take half an hour to clean the whole thing. 2 bedrooms and a bathroom and 2 rooms here downstairs. And
Yeah.
that's it. And it's amazing.
Yeah. So
But
much
to be
time
fair,
back.
I would rather on downtime go to my beach home and walk my dog on the beach, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I'd rather be doing. So it's just that different way of life. When you're decluttering, I was fortunate in that I had some time. If I had been doing my decluttering and my parents had only just passed away or had another bereavement or clients have had bereavements, then
Mm.
go to the easy things first.
Definitely. Yeah.
We're not advocates of putting everything in storage and forgetting about it.
Mm.
However, if there are items that are too difficult, then
Mm.
there is nothing wrong with
Mm.
putting that in storage as long as you're giving yourself a certain amount of time
Yes.
and to say, right, my budget is I'm going to give myself 3 months and then
Mm.
I will hopefully have created storage in your new
Mm.
home, or just be kind to yourself.
Mm.
Don't do
Mm.
the really hard things
Yeah.
first. I was fortunate, had kept my late dad's train sets. I don't know why. I had the room to store them in my attic. I had kept everything. And then I was able to sell them and donate that money to the hospice.
Oh.
And just able to give myself time. But if you don't have that time, I went through a lot of my sentimental items from my teenage years, and I found love letters from people. I was thinking, I don't even remember who you are. I'm about to be 55 years old, so obviously it was a long time ago. But who was
Oh.
this? I'm thinking, well, I don't need to keep that love letter, do I? And also, I've been married for 21 years. So off that goes. But it was that time to be able to let go of it and
Yeah.
release those emotions as well. Not obviously the love letter of someone I didn't remember, but it was release those emotions from a previous marriage that I'd had and a long time ago. But I kept my mum and dad's ones, and I kept the items of my friend who had been killed when we were 21.
Yeah.
You got to allow yourself that space.
Definitely.
Another just a product that I always love are those really useful storage boxes. And that's another
Yeah.
thing when you're coming to declutter, because they're stackable, get
Yeah.
those things in that item as in that storage as you are decluttering and organizing, because then
Mm.
they can all go in the shed or they can go
Mm.
in the attic, and they're strong. They'll keep everything safe and waterproof. And so I was able to declutter a lot of those and downsize them into smaller ones. And
Mm.
then when I'm helping a client move into a retirement apartment, you're only going to have like one sort of walk-in cupboard probably
Yeah.
for storage that's going to have a couple of shelves, and that's it. So when they've got Christmas items, let's declutter it and put it in those so they're all ready to go into that cupboard,
Mm.
and you haven't got in the living room in June Christmas tree. Where am I going to put this? You just think ahead for those things is another sort of really good tip, and get them in storage that's stackable. Don't have an open box
Oh, no.
that goes on the floor because you can't utilize the space above it.
And those really useful boxes, I think sometimes people think, oh, if I'm buying loads, it's really expensive. But actually, it is worth it because they are generally waterproof. Like
Yeah.
they're pretty well damp proof as well, aren't they? Like they're very good.
So moving on from like the process of we've done the floor plan, we've created the inventory, we've decluttered as much as possible, always with the mindset of where is this going? That's what I always say to clients and to myself.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm keeping that. Where's it going? Where will it go in
Yeah.
my new home? And when you
Mm.
continuously think like that, you will create the space,
Mm.
the thought process of, okay, it already has a home. But
Yeah.
there might be some items obviously that won't, and that's fine. But you just be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
But
It
always
does help.
think,
Yeah, to keep it on top of it though, because otherwise, if you're just like, oh, if you're not thinking about where it's going, you just end up not decluttering enough, and then
yeah,
it's actually just so much more stressful when you're in the new place, right?
yes. And be aware of it as well. I had a lady, she had a hoarding issue. And then she just said to me, oh, that's going in the cupboard. Oh, I'm going to put that in the bathtub. And I remember just saying,
Stuff.
we filled this bathtub 50 times over. There isn't room. And it was only on move day that then we had
Mm.
to get emergency storage until she actually visually saw
Yeah.
it. The removal company had to take it to a storage company.
Mm.
That was a challenging day. So it's very important to be aware
Mm.
of what you are putting in and how much, and just measure, know what you've got. So in the whole moving process, then it's removal surveys. You really want to have decluttered or have a really good idea of what is going with you, so that you are not being quoted on stuff that you are not taking because they won't reduce it.
Yeah.
If they're quoting you £2,500 and then you're taking less, it will still be £2,500.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not going to be any less.
But to declutter before you move, for
Yes,
sure.
declutter or be very, very clear of,
Mm.
okay, this isn't going,
Yeah,
and a third of my kitchen cupboards won't be coming with me. When
yeah,
you've then done that process, I always recommend I would ideally get 3 removal quotes
yes, agree.
and get those. Even if one person is really expensive and you're thinking, oh, I'm not going to use them, don't tell them until after you have moved. Because if something suddenly happens with availability, your move is delayed or the
Yeah.
date is changed, then you don't want to have cut your nose off to spite your face.
Yes, very good tip, Joe.
Yes.
Very good tip.
So keep a tab. We talked about this earlier, but I have like a home moving bundle that I've created. It's a digital download and it's very inexpensive and it's X number of pages and it has removal quotes, removal surveys, and it has an inventory and all of those. So it's just, and top tips and all of that stuff. So that's really useful. But one of the
Yeah.
pages is literally space to have 3 removal quotes. Use a national company and get local and get word of mouth, but make sure they are insured.
Yeah,
If the budget is there, I would recommend having them pack.
yeah.
In a situation like my move, I had to pack because I had
Mm,
to be so organized in advance that I couldn't
mm,
wait for the day. This leaps forward to move day, but make sure that you speak to the removal company about the move plan, it's
mm,
called, because you need to know unpacking someone tomorrow into a retirement apartment. They're being packed today but they are staying in their home tonight. So I know the removal company are going back tomorrow to pack up the bed and the last bits of the kitchen. And then they have said, we aim to be at the apartment at noon tomorrow. So I'm going to get there at 11:30 because I also know that they will most likely turn up early. So I knew the move plan. But if they were just being packed today and then they were staying in a hotel tonight, then the removal company will be there at 8:30 in the morning. Ask them what the move plan is. It a one
mm,
day? Is it a 2 day? Is it a 3 day move? What is the plan? When a removal company are quoting, they want to know access to both homes. They
mhm.
want to know volume of stuff, so they can therefore quote the amount of staff and the amount of boxes and the size of the truck and lorry. So that's basically what they're quoting on. But be prepared; they can be like £1,000 apart. Another thing as well, I have clients say to me, "I don't want to use that company. I didn't like that man." I'm like, "He won't be there."
Yeah.
That is just the surveyor. They like, "Oh, I'm going with that company because I really liked Bill who came round." I'm like, "Okay, but Bill's not going to be doing your move. It will be the removal team." So just a little thing to keep in mind. People can
Mm,
relate and really like
mm.
someone and they're buying into them,
Yeah,
but they're not going to be there. So just,
yeah.
just to remember.
Good thing for everyone to be aware of. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
definitely.
So then we've got down to you've decluttered, you've sold things, what your buyer's having, you've booked your removal company, you're all ready to go, your charity's booked, your house clearance is booked, all of that. So then it's change of address paperwork, which is I did that for 3 hours with a client yesterday. I have a whole checklist in my home moving bundle. So using the
Yeah.
checklist, it's letting HMRC know, it's letting the council tax people know, it's setting up your new account. I could spend hours talking about change of address, but
I know.
just remember that don't call the gas and electric people until the day you move out because they only want to know then. Doctors and everything will only want to know once you've got to your new home. So always
Yeah,
make sure you've got prescriptions and everything ready in advance. It
yeah,
takes 5 working days to redirect your post. It's much easier to do it online than it is taking ID into a post office and things like that. But it does take
yeah.
5 working days. When you are redirecting your post, always consider when it's going to end. So if it's going to
Mm,
end at the end of November, then maybe consider you actually do it for longer
yeah.
because of Christmas. Or if it's going to end at the end of the tax year, then it's going to take a
Mm,
couple of months for the end of tax statements
yeah,
and everything people are going to get. Then make
yeah,
sure you're covered to get that. You don't want your post to go AWOL and miss those important things. So just going through change of address, I have a checklist just to make it much simpler with
yeah,
space to then add on, you've got to let the golf club know or
yeah,
another membership or anything else that people have. But some of them are really, really quick. I normally will do a driver's license and a TB license online whilst
mhm.
I'm on hold for on average 22 minutes to a water company for them to answer. I will sit there and do it online. And I'm very used to doing this. I can do a driving license. A quick thing, and as I said, I could go for ages on this, but when you go to change your driving license and your V5 and you
Yeah.
Google to do that, there will be sponsored companies coming up and they will try to charge you about £69. It's free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make sure you're on the government website, DVS
Mhm.
website. Don't go to a sponsored one.
Yeah.
They will charge you and they're very clever. They make it look like it's the
The legit one.
it's the legit one, and it isn't. I was trying to tell my daughter, my youngest is 21, and I was trying to tell her this. And she goes, no, it's fine. It's fine. And we just caught her before. And I said, that's what I was trying to tell you, sweetheart. It's only really mail redirection that will cost you money, unless
Yeah.
you're moving to maybe a more expensive area. And then chances are your insurances will go up.
Yeah. Yeah. Great tips. I feel like everyone probably just needs to go and get your checklist because I feel like that's going to save them. Like, I mean, even that is going to probably save people, well, possibly 70 quid people have just saved by hearing that tip. So,
Exactly. Yes, it is a really good bundle. It's like top tips of what to leave for your new buyer and what to
oh,
make sure you
amazing.
take with you. It's a lot of checklists and bits you can ignore if it's not relevant. It's 10 years of experience just written down into
Oh,
and it's only a few pounds.
well,
I'm proud of it because I just know how I use it all the time.
yeah. Well, I feel like I need that and I'm an organizer, Joe. Thank
Well,
you for measuring.
I'll send it to you, Amy. Don't you worry about it. And then we come to move days. So there are just various tips that I can say, like, as I mentioned earlier, make sure you know the move plan, make sure you have medications on you, pack a kitchen box, the stuff that we've heard for years.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people don't do it though, Joe. So definitely, like, it's a good thing to mention.
Yeah, keep those removal companies, keep that team happy. And trust me, a cup of tea and some chocolate biscuits will keep them happy. Strip your bed in the morning and keep that separate because trust me, when you go to your bedroom and there's 20 boxes full of toiletries and
Mm.
clothes and everything, and you're like, brilliant, where is my fitted sheet and everything? If it's in a black bin bag and it's all ready and it's in your car, or it's
Yeah.
with a removal company but in a black bin bag, so it's that's what it is. You can go to bed that night. A lot of people ask me about tipping removal companies, and it's always very, very personal, but it
Mm.
can sometimes go a long way.
Mm.
Five or £10 or
Yeah.
£20 for the group to go out for a drink after
Yeah.
is always a good thing. Rest well when you are moving and get the
Yeah.
priorities. If you have the budget, dump everything in and then go and stay somewhere else and come back with fresh eyes.
Mm.
We were fortunate here. It was filthy when we moved in, and I literally walked in. My husband said, I'm going to go get coffee and a Greggs sausage roll. And he walked down the path and I burst into tears. I was like,
Oh
what have
no.
I
Oh
done?
no, Joe.
Beautiful home, and they had just left it so cold and dirty. I was heartbroken.
I never understand how, I mean, you just don't
No.
know what's going on in people's lives, do you? But I would never be able to do that. I'm not cleaned it yet 'cause I haven't moved out, but I've put a thing together of like all the different paint and the wallpaper and everything because
Yeah,
our buyers like really, really love the decoration. So I was like, I'll give you a list of everything that we've used so that you can go and
perfect
easily.
time to do. So this is the window
Oh,
cleaner
amazing.
I use. This is where the locks are, and this is who
Yeah.
services the boiler. It's just kindness. I mean, we were fortunate. We got the keys on the Friday. Our stuff didn't come in till the Monday. We actually were able just to stay in the Airbnb.
Mm.
Obviously, it costs money, but then we were
Yeah.
here every day cleaning so that when the boxes came in, it was clean.
My gosh. Lucky you had that time. Was that like like purposely planned or did it just happen that way?
We ended up completing on Friday the 13th. Therefore, we just said to the removal company, do it Monday. We would have just had it the next day had it not been a Friday. I move a lot of people into retirement apartments. They're all decleaned and, brand new,
Yeah,
and they've
lovely.
probably had a little bit of access to it or had new
Mm.
furniture delivered. Have a breather, just,
Yeah.
be prepared. And also, I'm not a KonMari person. The emotion of leaving my family home
Mm. Mm.
was, even though it was I want to live at the beach. Let's sell the home. It was hard, but I
Yeah, it's
have
a lot.
to say, with my parents' home, which was my family home, and then my family home with my husband and children, it does become bricks and mortar when your items are gone. And that was huge.
Mm,
And I think what did help me personally is doing it little by little, because I
yeah.
was depersonalizing it before it was
Mm,
going on the market. And then I was getting rid of items of furniture, be it charity or selling on marketplace or whatever I was doing.
mm.
It very slowly, it didn't go from my home packed up to nothing. I did
Yes.
have a slower time with it, which did help. I did a video when it was empty, and I can sometimes look back on them. And the video when it's empty, it's echoey, it's
Mm,
colder, and our
mm,
stuff is gone. And
mm.
then you see it in your new home. Oh, these are my late father's pictures that were in my living room, and now they're in our new
Oh.
living room. Give yourself the time and the space to, in a way, grieve.
I don't know what the actual definition is, but it is like
It's a
leaving
form,
something
yeah,
behind, isn't it?
it is for
Yeah.
sure, but it definitely does help when it's empty, because it's
Mm.
just not the same. And also you see the marks, you think a home is beautiful, and then you move the mirror and you're like,
Oh, yeah, I know.
that wood burner really marked the wall behind. And I was like, oh God, that really needs painting. Let's quickly drop the keys off and run
Yeah.
off. But, just be kind to yourself. It
Yeah.
is a process, but then just always focus on the new life. I mean, my husband and I
Mm.
know we're in a, very sort of privileged position. Value of our large home, which we did up for 20 years, bought
Yeah.
us two smaller homes with some surplus left over. So whenever I would be like, my goodness, my husband just says to me, we've got a beach home. And I'm like, yeah, we've got a beach home. And as of last night, our life is changing even more. Our 21-year-old, who has come with us, both places are 2 bedrooms, she announced she's going to move. We will be empty nesters. That's what started our whole process off. We didn't need this big detached home when it was just
Mm.
us and the dog. Our daughter had gone traveling, and we were like, we don't need this space. And I was on right to move, and life changed in that. It wasn't even a year ago. It was only in the end of
Mm.
July that I saw this beach home. We saw it in July, went on the market in August, sold in August, and sold that home in November, and then
Yeah.
moved in here in December. It was
Mm.
very quick. So
Mm.
that's the whole process. As I said, whether you're downsizing, upsizing, right sizing, it's still pretty much the same. Just to have that, just to be always mindful of thinking, where's it going to go? And just go through
Mm.
that whole process. It just breaks those stages down to stop the overwhelm, because it really
Yeah.
can be overwhelming. Bereavement, divorce, money issues, or won the lottery and you're moving to a massive house, whatever it is, there's still going to be emotion. Can I share
Definitely.
a really, really quick top tip?
Yeah.
One thing that was difficult for me for my family home with my children was I had etched into like the door frame
The heights.
their heights. I remember I was just like, what am I going to do? So you get masking tape, you put a line at the bottom, and you start at the bottom. If anyone's just listening to
Yeah,
this,
I
I'm
know.
doing the actions. You
If
put
you're
the
watching on
masking
YouTube,
tape
it's
to the
time.
top of the door frame and mark that T and B, so top and bottom. And then I just literally transferred over with a Sharpie the heights, rolled it back up. So don't cut it at the top, keep it so that you can then roll it back down again. If you then want to transpose that to a new home, you can, or just keep
Oh.
it.
Yeah.
I've just
That's
kept
such a good
mine.
idea. Yeah, that's such a
And
good
that's a
idea.
way, because it's another emotional thing. Oh, the
Mm.
children have grown up. I've lived it. I understand, but you can take that with you.
Yeah.
Short of, take ripping the door frame off, you can, you can take that with you. So if that's what you've done, that's another quick top tip to hopefully help you know, a sentimental move.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's such a nice tip to kind of end that bit on. It's amazing. Thank you. That's been so useful. I'm sure anyone that's moving has been hopefully making notes, and we'll also, Joe, link your bundle as well below, because I think that'll be so
Wonderful.
helpful to people. I
Thank
mean, yeah,
you.
I just, as you were saying things, I was like, God, I haven't even thought about that yet. So yeah, I think that would be amazing. Any like final tips for anything to do with moving? Or I feel like we've covered kind of pretty much everything, but
Yeah, I think I sort of finished off with just the be kind to yourself, take it one step at a time, get people to help you
yeah.
as much as possible. And if there are people that are tricky, if you've got a parent or a sibling saying, "Oh no, you should keep that," or you don't want to, then don't have them over,
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely.
because it's your move. It's your move, but just be kind to yourself, be methodical with it, work your way through. And if something is hard, stop that and go to the easier ones.
Definitely.
Take out 2 bags that you don't have to think about rather than dealing with the one that's hard, because there will be a day that you can then deal with that and you'll feel stronger to do with that. So always just be kind to yourself and just surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah, definitely. Amazing. Thank you. And what are you excited about with your business? Have you got anything exciting coming up? Are you?
I've written and I'm filming a course on basically what I've talked to you about, but
Oh,
a real
wow.
detailed on how you do everything, but in chapters so that you'll see how to do a floor plan, go through every single stage in real step by step process. So a lot more in depth. So people can dip in and dip out of whether it's downsizing or a bereavement or, how they move various items on. So I'm actually creating a course. It's not ready yet. Once you purchased it, you can just rewatch it and there'll be a booklet and everything there as well. So I'm very excited about that. And I love doing all my socials. Thank you for
Yeah.
your kind words. I love just sharing top tips, things like that. So if anyone would like to follow me, then I
Yes.
would be very grateful. I continue to share everything on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
TikTok. And what's your handle? I know we'll link it, but just for anyone
So
listening,
it's
what's your?
It's Benella Home Organisation on pretty much all of them. I think on Instagram they're underscored
They
in
are,
in
yeah.
between. But yes, you can link them. If you just say, I'll always be in pink.
Yes, always, always. And you're on brand as ever today in your pink. I love it.
On brand. I have to do some more filming because I actually did my hair and makeup today because I knew you were recording this. So I have to do some more filming today to take advantage. I probably won't go viral now because I've done my hair.
And so if anyone has, really loved listening to you today and thought, oh my God, I need Joe in my life, are you still like offering in-home like work? Can they book you or how can they book you? What do you?
Absolutely. So I'm based in Hampshire and West Sussex, but I also have a new service where you can have 1 hour on Zoom or FaceTime, whatever works best, where people can then just use me for even for a minimum of an hour, or they can
Yeah.
book 2 or 3 or, whatever sessions. So just via Zoom. So you can be anywhere in the world or in the country, and then I can help as well. So that's a new service that I'm offering just to help more and more people. I have a big following of people that are always saying, "Oh, I wish you lived near me." And
Yeah.
I always have my best ideas on a sun lounger, and I've just been away, and I was like, "Oh, little light bulb moment." I'd love to be able to help more people. So that's going on my website this week, actually. So that will be
Amazing.
there as well. So just contact me if anyone would like a hour's support or the floor plan done for them and anything like
Oh,
that.
wow.
Then I can do those things remotely as well.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, I'm sure you'll get lots of inquiries because you've been so useful today. It's been so helpful to everyone moving and downsizing. And even like you said, if their parents are moving or downsizing and they're listening. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Well. Thank you so much for having me, Amy. I've had a lovely time talking about my favourite subjects.
Yes. And it's been great chatting with you. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. And I will see you next week for another episode of The Space Creator Show. Bye.